Narcissists are like untrained dark hypnotists. They often mimic many of Milton Erickson's techniques in a very destructive way. So he was a 20th century pioneering psychiatrist and psychologist who demonstrated that everyone's unconscious mind is suggestible. Once he met a guy who challenged him with the idea that hypnosis couldn't be done without this guy's approval. So Ericson just smiled. He extended his hand for a handshake, and as the man reached out, Ericson interrupted the handshake mid-motion and suddenly shifted his grip to lightly touching different fingers in a confusing pattern and unexpected way. And this sudden break in that familiar action created a brief window of cognitive disorientation, which was a hypnotic opening. Ericson quietly said, "That's right. You can go deeper. Just stand there comfortable and still until you realize you've already begun to relax." The man froze because he had entered into a light trance right there in the middle of the casual interaction. Ericson continued to talk to him until he guided him out of the trance and then smiled and walked away. Do narcissists and psychopaths know that they're able to do this? Do they know that they're using a lot of Erickson's techniques? They may not realize that they're using a pattern interruption style, but they've learned that it works. They learned that they're able to bypass your critical thinking part of your brain and speak to your unconscious mind directly. Here's an example of how it shows up. Maybe you bring up a topic and you say something like, it really hurt when you didn't respond to my messages for hours. And suddenly, instead of talking to you about that issue, they pivot and say, "Wow, I guess I can't do anything right. Do you know how much pressure I'm under?" That disorients you because you expected a discussion not to be blamed. Before you can recover, then they drop the suggestion. You're overly sensitive. That's maybe why your past relationships have failed. Now you're like, what? What just happened? And you start to wonder, is it me? Am I the problem? They bypassed your conscious mind and they've spoken to your unconscious mind, and the confusion has disarmed you. That suggestion that they made about you having problems with other relationships and you being overly sensitive created doubt, and the fact that they repeat this starts to turn it into a fact. And because you're upset, that emotional attention keeps you hooked. They don't actually have to command you to do anything. They just need to nudge you psychologically until you do it for them. And that's why I tell you, don't blame victims for getting into a toxic relationship, because a lot of them are under mind control. Would you like to hear more content like this? Drop me a comment and let me know.